Hello, this is Brenda Hardwick with Angel Talk with Brenda Hardwick. This is the podcast for August 2026, and my guest speaker today is Janine Bolon, and she is my friend, one of my mentors, and a shaman, and one of the premier magic people I know. Um, our topic today is change, change, change. Wait, there's more? And that can be a question mark or an exclamation point at the end. Now, the Angel Talk podcast has been running for 4 years, and there are still some of the audio only available on Spotify, but we are here on YouTube and you can check it out. And I hope you share it. And I hope you hear something today that you can use. Hi, Janine. Thank you for joining me today.
It is lovely to be with you here today, and I'm going to apologize to your listeners that you will have a little bit of background noise, maybe because I am in a truck stop because I am digging dinosaur bones in Wyoming. And this was the only place in town that had Wi-Fi at this time of day. So,
That is
anyway,
so
so I
cool.
apologize. I apologize to your listeners.
That's okay. We can hear the beep beep. We can't hear people. It works. It's okay. No.
Okay.
And change, change, change. Wait, there's more. I will tell you, this week has been full of that for me. There has been change I haven't expected, change I've known was coming. The girls are getting out of school, out of summer camp this week, and they're tired. And they're 7 going on 15. They're we've had all kinds of things that are happening with them that makes change, and grandma has used some words in the wrong place that daddy wasn't real happy with, but explanations are going to be needed. That's a story for later. um but everything around us right now is about change. And I have, oh my gosh, if I didn't have my posse, if I didn't have my angels and guides, that I could say, okay, y'all got to help me with this right now, I don't know what I would do. There was a point this week where I couldn't call my sister because she's gone back to work. What was wrong with her? I couldn't call the other sister because she just got out of the hospital. She didn't need that. I couldn't call a friend because she was working. So I had to just deal with it, just me. And so I reached for help. Don't forget they're up there or back there or over there. Don't forget they're with you. How about you, Janine? What about you in this change, change, change? Wait, there's more.
Frequently, I feel like I'm the eye of the hurricane. I feel like the change is happening all around me, but it is not directly affecting me. I didn't come to that naturally. I had to work probably for about 25 years to get myself to a place where I was the eye of the hurricane. And it didn't come at an easy price. I think it's not as difficult to get there now because we have the internet. We have a lot of people like yourself who are on podcasts. We have a lot of guidance that we didn't have before. If you weren't affiliated with a church or you didn't have some sort of a spiritual authority that you could go to, you kind of had to figure it out on your own. And that was the generation you and I came through, Brenda. So that's one of the things that I'm so grateful that each generation after us has a lot more access. Now, that also causes problems because now you don't lack for information. You have more information being thrown at you than ever before in our world. And that is in itself a problem. How do you verify information? How do you know if it's right for you? It can get very, very confusing. So that's where my heart goes out to people who they feel like they're caught in the hurricane. They do not feel it all. So how do we get you to the center? How do we get you to the eye? Now, why do I use hurricanes? Well, my dad was in the Navy and I was raised on islands a lot of time. And so when a hurricane came, it was batten down the hatches. We are a small island, right? We're a little bitty island in the Caribbean. We have the Atlantic on one side, we have the Caribbean Sea on the other, and we have a hurricane that can wipe out our structures on on our island very, very easily. And so we would go into the most fortified areas and we would wait it out. And there was always a time where we were allowed outside of the buildings, and that was the eye. And when the eye of the hurricane actually came over our island, it's an experience I won't ever forget. And it was an experience that has helped me through the rest of my life. There's no sound because the winds are around you, right? It's also the wall of the eye is the highest and most intense part. So as soon as you could hear the freight train coming, almost like a tornado, I have experienced tornadoes too, unfortunately. Um, that that when you have those moments where you hear the train coming, what do? You go back into shelter and you just remember the eye. So we're going to use that kind of as our metaphor of how do you get into your center? How do you do this when everything around you is changing? And just like when we were on the islands, we had pre-warning. Sometimes we feel like we don't have warning.
Yeah.
Sometimes we feel like something has hit us from the side. It's like a tornado that just drops down and nobody had time to really understand it. So let's start with that one first. Let's start with the change that comes unheralded as far as we're concerned. And sometimes it's not until we're through that change that we look back and go, oh, wait a minute. We did have some warning on that. But you don't get that until 2020. Like 2020 vision's always like hindsight, right?
Hindsight.
2020 hindsight.
Always 2020, yes.
So we're going to play pretend you've not been given any warning that you are conscious of and you got smacked over the head with a brick of some kind that makes you feel dazed, confused, and overwhelmed. All right, let's start there. So how do you handle this? Well, I would like you to treat it the same way that you treat when you're in an emergency situation. What is the very first thing you do? You assess where you are. Where are you right now? What is it that you have? Do you have basic needs? Do you have food, clothing, shelter? Okay. If the answer is yes, then you know it's a mental challenge that you're facing right now. It's an emotional challenge. It's a mental challenge. It's something that has come to you that maybe it's a friend that you have had that was near and dear to you, and they have dropped I believe, Brenda, you've talked about they've broken out the psycho knife. You're sitting there going, what are you talking about? This is not even something that we are aware of. This is not what we are. The first thing that I would recommend is when you get into a state where you're dazed and confused and you don't know what is happening, extricate yourself from the conversation, extricate yourself from the situation. When you are dazed and confused, you are literally not in your right mind. And why is that? Because you're being asked to grow. You're being asked to expand beyond your realm. You're being asked to look at something differently. Can you do that from where you are currently? And the answer is absolutely not. It's not going to work. Why? Because you are outside of the parameters of your normal experiences. You have, let's take the friend example, because that seems to be what a lot of people are experiencing right now. So you have a friend that pulls out the psycho craziness and you're like, what are you talking about? Don't try to understand him in that moment. You can't. Extricate yourself from the conversation. Say, you know what? I do not understand what has happened right now. I do not understand what you're saying to me, and I can't right now. I am unable to process and understand what you are saying to me right now. It makes no sense to me. And then you extricate yourself and then you make an appointment with them to talk to them later, preferably after a phase of the moon. Give it 4 weeks. Why? Because it's not going to make sense to you because they're bringing something up to you that has nothing to do with where you are right now in the moment. And in many circumstances, their frame of reality is in no way the same as your frame of reality. Guess what? You're both right. You're both correct. Your frame of reality is absolutely correct according to your mindset, according to your personal truth. The thing is, both realities can exist at the same time. This is what this planet is doing right now. There are 9 billion realities operating on this planet concurrently. That's how amazing this is right now. And when you accept the fact, and you don't have to. Maybe for your frame of reality says, no, Janine, I don't accept that. I'm substituting my own. And I say, that's fine. But I am going to let you know you'll suffer a lot more. Let's go a little Buddhist right now, shall we? How much suffering do you want to have in your life? Do you want to have a lot of pain? Pain's inevitable. The Buddhists all say this. Pain is inevitable. If you're living a life, pain is inevitable. Number two, suffering, though. Suffering is optional. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. How much suffering do you want to go through? If you really want to suffer and, oh, woe is me, and really play the victim card, go for it. It is yours. You may have it, but I will disassociate myself from you because that is not the reality I'm going to live in. And this is my choice. Guess what? Your reality is totally appropriate and perfect for you to live if that is what helps you, right? I don't know what your spiritual journey is. I don't know it. It doesn't mean I have to stick around you. It doesn't mean I have to be in your sphere of influence. It means I need to extricate myself because you are in a victim mode and I don't want to be anywhere there near there. Why? I spent 25 years getting out of that. I am not going back. You can't make me. I ain't gonna. Right? That's where my little 5-year-old is so important to me because it has made decisions of, I'm not doing that again. Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt, bought the freaking factory for a period of time, and I sold it, right? So how do you get yourself into the I? How do you get yourself into that state of peace? And that is make sure you're not living in the past. The past will trap you. The past will tell you, oh, we know what this is. We've seen this before. Let me tell you, that's your ego trying to
Yep,
create a narrative that does not exist. Brenda, you know about this and you've talked to your
absolutely.
people about it. You need to listen to this Angel podcast. She will talk to you about narrative and how we build stories that are not true in our head. By the way, we're champions at this. We are human beings on planet Earth and we are champions. Everybody gets a gold star. All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everybody gets an
Absolutely.
A+. We can build a story like nobody's business.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's one thing. Don't live in the past. It will trap you into behavior and thought processes that maybe aren't appropriate for the change that's trying to manifest right now in your life. You are being asked to grow beyond the boundaries that your brain has built for you. Please remember everything that you see, everything that you experience is what your brain thinks you want to see, thinks you want to experience. It thinks this is what makes you happy. So when you have change of such astronomical, mind bending, mind breaking reality, that is your higher self tapping you on the shoulder and going, my dear, there's so much more to this world and you cannot see it because of the narrative that you are living.
Yes. That is so real. And it is so, there's no way I could have said that any better because it's just true. And getting trapped in the past, with this, like the situation that happened to me, this was the first time I recognized I'd done it before and I wasn't doing that anymore. I'm not doing it that way anymore. And did it feel good? Well, no, it didn't. It did not. It did not feel good. And growing, talk to a child who's physically growing. It hurts. There's growing pains. So, yes, pain is inevitable, but suffering, it's a choice how long you endure that and how long you hold on to that. So profoundly put. Thank you.
You're welcome. I wish I could take credit, but that goes back to the Buddha.
There is there is so much change going on around us. You are right. And finding the eye of your hurricane because it's your hurricane. The change that's happening for you is not the same as the change that's happening for me or the change that's happening for your friend or your children or your parents or whoever the other people are in your life. Everyone's change is different. And finding the eye so that you can look and make a judgment decision on what you're going to do next. is important.
Mm.
And what you're going to do next, you have to, this is a time limit because the eye is moving and that other wall is going to come at you soon. So you have to be ready for that. Do you have any hints for that second wall coming?
So that's where we move to the future. If you're dazed and confused, I talked to you about how the past is a trap. Guess what? The future is loaded with nothing but overwhelm. Okay. So the future is overwhelmed. The past is a trap. Okay. So how do you stay in the eye? You stay in your present moment. And so what you want to do is assess, what is it that I currently have right now? What do I know about myself right now? And you always can tell the ego. You can always tell when the ego is trying desperately to get your attention, because it will always want to do one of two things: put you in victim mode. Oh, poor me. Nobody trusts me. Nobody understands me. That's where you have to step in as the parent of yourself and say, get over it. We're not going there. That is not helpful to what is happening to us now in the present moment. The second place is, it will try to create a reality that does not exist in your present time. It will try to pull from past narrative of pain, because the ego feeds on pain and trauma and drama. It is your drama llama. I do not ride the drama llama. I do not like to ride the drama llama, but I can always tell when my ego is trying to pull myself into that. So to get into the eye, it's very difficult to meditate when you're sitting there with everything swirling around you. So the biggest thing is, and this is an old technique, this has been around since day one, and that is breathe, take a deep breath. Isn't that ridiculous? Oh my gosh, what does this have to do with anything? It throws you into the truest center of your being, which is your heart chakra. Of all the chakras in your body, the heart chakra is the only one that is not connected to any of the others. You cannot go wrong if you follow the heart, which is where you hear that story all the time. Follow what is your purpose, follow your heart, follow your dreams. No, no, no. Don't follow your dreams. If you follow your dreams, that's your brain, right? Follow your heart. What is your passion, right? So that is where you can get the mind to really confuse you. But if you take a deep breath and you focus on your heart, it always knows its own truth. So in a crisis situation, you will see very well trained people take a deep breath, like everything from people who are sharpshooters to snipers who are military trained to EMTs to medical personnel. You will see a doctor before you do surgery, when he's washing and scrubbing his hands, or she is washing and scrubbing her hands. I have seen surgeons take a deep breath and then they put their mask on and then they move into the surgery floor. Okay. So that is a technique that's guaranteed. It's called, in the medical community, it's actually called the neurocognitive sigh. You take a sigh. Here we go. And that's how you prepare yourself for that wall, dear. You know it's coming. You know you're going to be asked to perform. You know you're going to be asked to pull from everything that you know, either mentally or emotionally, tools that you've used in the past. And you're being asked to take a moment, take a breather, and just take that moment of, okay, we're going to handle this one step at a time. I cannot plan for my future, because by planning for my future, I'm keeping myself in a neurocognitive narrative that is not of my own making. A lot of the narrative that we built around this world was done to us before we had consent, before our age was old enough to have consent. So you don't want to fall into those old paradigms. So what do you want to do? You want to take it one moment at a time. So what did you want to chip in there,
Yeah.
Brenda?
Um, so what I'm hearing you say, and what I want to reiterate, is when that second wall is about to hit, you have time to decide which direction you're going to face, which direction you're going to turn, if words are needed, whether they're not needed. You have control. And it's also the point where you can tell your ego, no, go sit for a while. I don't need you to get through this. Because, as you said, your ego is in the past. That's that, yeah, but That's that. Well, last time, okay, those are the pieces you don't need because you've crossed a line by finding your center. And so it means that you can make the change that's needed and you can grow. And through that growth, there's several things that happen. You become the you in your future that's going to get to your future. You become the person that, even with all the overwhelm, you can still see clearly your next step. Maybe not the whole path, but your next step. And that's where the importance lies. You can also realize and remember that you can ask for the help that is available from your guides, from your angels, so that you are making and using what you know and not just your feelings. And then you check with your heart and make sure it's right. Oh, so change, change, change. Wait, there's more. Okay. So the first three changes are the first side of that hurricane. The wait is your time in the eye. The there's more, while it might be scary, the time in your eye gives you the ammunition to handle it. Janine, thank you so much.
So
This
I
is,
have one thing I'd like to share before
you
we
go
stop,
ahead,
and
you
that is this,
share.
and that is a lot of people try to get back to happiness too quickly. They
Mm,
try to get themselves out of the discomfort they feel too quickly. Instead of trying to get to either excitement or eagerness or joy or whatever those emotions are for you, I strongly encourage you just move to contentment. Find a way to just move from where you are, which could be very, very angry. Like somebody may have triggered you to a point that you're not really in a rage, but you are definitely angry. When you are angry, that is a perfect place to be. Because if you're angry, that allows you to dig out what is it in the past that is trying to hold me to this narrative that is no longer serving me. And you know that. So don't try to move through anger too quick. Use it to do that internal reflection and find out, well, now, why am I angry? Well, she said this and she said that. Yes, but why did that make me angry? And blah, blah, blah. And as long as you're looking at external factors, you know you haven't got it yet. As soon as you find out that internal factor, well, that's because my dad said to me when I was 5, blah, blah, blah. And then you go, oh, you'll know it immediately. You'll feel the anger dissipate, and then you've got your core. This is the core. This is the thing in the past that needed to be removed from my psyche, that I integrated and brought into my psyche without even realizing what I was doing. The other person was just playing their part. And now I can move into contentment because I have a sense of peace. And then you take that deep breath again, and then you decide how you're going to move forward. So don't sit there in that agitated, overwhelmed, and complex place and try to make choices and decisions from there. There's no way you can access your heart chakra in that moment.
that's right.
And very few of us are ever put in a position where we have our life or death choice that we have to make
Yes.
quickly. However, your brain and your ego will always try to make you think if you don't make a decision in this moment, you're going to die. And nothing can be further from the truth unless you are truly standing on a mountaintop and you're having to climb that mountain. Okay, so unless you technically physically are in that, that's just your ego trying to make you in pain and suffering a little bit longer.
And that's where that time, that moon
Mm-hmm.
cycle, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, that's where that time is important. So you take the time. If you go from being angry and it's only been a week and you think you're all right, You haven't done all the work yet.
Give it some time.
Give it some time. Because unfortunately, nothing happens in a hurry, and none of us has the magic wand. Ding! It would be nice, but we don't have that. And even if we did have it, it wouldn't clear up all of the cobwebs that need to be addressed. Okay, thank you for that. That was an important piece. And thank you, Janine, for joining me today. I appreciate you so much. And I am very happy that you took the time to be with me this morning. It's your morning. Um, it's my afternoon. And I hope that those of you listening are able to take something from this and use it. And I ask that you share it. And I ask that you join me next month on the fourth Wednesday of the month. Um, what is next month? This is September. My things are not acting correctly. Come on, come on. My guest next month is Brandy Pamel, and she will be addressing the topic of what does it take for you to be you? Falls right along with what we discussed today. How about that? I love it. The angels know what they're doing. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful, blessed day. Thank you, Janine.
You
Namaste.
bet. Namaste.